Hey guys, Tom Barton from TomBartonSports.com here. The overreactions are going crazy. Tom Brady loses. He's done. MVP's over. Super Bowl over. Tampa Bay's in a mess. I'm here to go, wait a minute, hold on. Let's calm down and look at this from a different angle. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, if you like this channel, please subscribe, like it, and make sure that you tell your friends. Also, comment below. I want to hear what you guys think of Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after that loss. Also, go check me out over on Twitter. It's at Tom Barton Sports, TomBartonSports.com also. And I do have a couple of podcasts. It's Believe in Betting is one of the podcasts. The other podcast is Believe in the Ivy League, where I talk about Ivy League sports. So go check that out as well. All right, guys, let's get into it. Look, Tom Brady loses. He loses on national TV, and everybody kind of loses their minds. I mean, you say what you want here. This is a massive overreaction. Sure, I'm not going to make a complete overhaul and say, you know what, it's a fluke. It's not a fluke. Sean Payton, the New Orleans Saints, the organization, they just own Brady since he's now come into this beautiful new place in Tampa Bay, right? Everybody loves Tampa Bay. Whatever it is, they own them. Not only did they come into the game where Tom Brady was 0-3 with 8 interceptions, and we saw what happened last night, we also get into a position where, the Saints were scoring 36 points per game against Bruce Arians. I think there's more of a Bruce Arians problem against one organization that he just can't seem to get over. But they did beat him in the playoffs. And that's kind of where I want to go with this. Is Tom Brady in the playoffs? Everyone's kind of just writing them off at this point. And, well, you know what? He showed his age. Give the MVP to Rodgers. Guys, have we not learned anything over 2 decades? I mean, have we really not learned anything? What we still have is we still have Tom Brady. We still have Tom Brady playing at an elite level. If you don't think he's the MVP, that's perfectly fine. But he's still playing at an elite level. I still think he is the MVP. If not, he's number 2, 3. So you have Tom Brady there. You also have the injuries. All right, Leonard Fournette went down. They said he'll be back in about 2 weeks. Ronald Jones looked pretty good in his absence, right? Mike Evans went down. They said he'll be back before the playoffs. All right, no problem. We could work with that. Well, Chris Godwin's out for the year, but Antonio Brown's coming back, and he kind of plays the same exact position. I think they're going to be perfectly fine offensively. And if you look at it, the Tampa Bay Bucs have the easiest schedule in the NFL from here on out. So it should be a breeze. If they win next week, and they are, according to the lines makers in Vegas, 11.5-point favorites over Carolina, they should win that game. If they win that game, they win the division. So maybe they don't get the number 1 seed. But once you get into the playoffs, look at who the competition is. Well, they all have massive problems right now. Dak Prescott's in a major slump, and that's what they're calling it, a slump. Look, Dak Prescott looks bad. You could turn around and you could look at, well, the Rams, it was only last week, right, that we were talking about Matthew Stafford cannot beat winning teams, and he doesn't perform well in the playoffs. Doesn't really even have playoff experience. San Francisco, look, they're a little plucky, but I look at San Francisco and I go, in a situation where they would have to come to Tampa, you got to like Tampa in that spot. The Arizona Cardinals, they just lost to the Lions. Is anybody really talking about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals? I mean, they lost to the Lions, and Kingsbury is just not a very good coach. So really, when you turn around, you go, okay, there's that one team. There's that one team in the NFC that we should really take very serious, and that's the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are a team that you take serious. But while everyone's heaping all of the praise on Aaron Rodgers today and the Green Bay Packers today, remember, they were 1 2-point conversion away from losing a game to a backup quarterback. Now, that backup quarterback, he looked good, but wasn't even a backup quarterback. This is a backup quarterback and missing 4 starting defensive backs, losing Humphrey, losing guys all over the place. Their entire team was a mess. So the Green Bay Packers, who everybody wants to elevate into the NFC Championship game and give Aaron Rodgers the MVP, and Green Bay is all these things, well, they almost lost to a backup quarterback, backup defensive backs, to a beaten-up team. And if that guy catches the ball there, right, and they run a better play, maybe Huntley runs a different play and they lose, are we having that same conversation? This isn't to say that the Bucs shouldn't be looked at in a different light. They're not world beaters this year. You could beat them with the pass. The secondary hasn't performed just as well as we thought. They do have some injury issues. But I look at the Bucs pretty much the same way I look at them before the Saints game. They are going to go as far as Tom Brady takes them. They're going to go as far as the complimentary guys can certainly step it up. And I like what I see. I didn't like what I saw against the Saints. That's fine. It's one game and it's one team that just have their number. Can anybody in the league duplicate that? I tend to think not. I haven't seen it happen. So while we start to talk about the playoffs and we have an overreaction here about Tom Brady, which you seemingly it happens every other year, we're starting to have that overreaction. Let's take a breath and say right now, Tampa Bay should still be the favorites. They should still be looked at as a Super Bowl contender. They should still be looked at as the Super Bowl champions because they could certainly get there. But I understand where people are going, well, maybe age finally caught up with Brady. Maybe. Look, we have to see Brady in a bounce back mode. You can't judge them just against the Saints here, and you can't judge him just on what he does against Carolina because I think he lights it up against Carolina. You have to look at this as the overall feel of the team. Let's see how they come out against Carolina and for the next month. This month is basically a warm-up for them. Let's see how they do. But where I'm sitting today, the overreaction machine is running crazy. I'm here to tell you, Tampa Bay fans, don't worry about it. Tom Brady fans, take a deep breath. We've seen things like this before. We've seen Brady struggle in the middle of the season during a fluky game, and I think we can call this a fluke as long as they go out next week, take care of Carolina, win the division, and then all of a sudden set everything back right. So when you're talking about the NFC, you do have some competitors, but I don't think anybody is really, really knocking down the door of the throne to Tom Brady, even despite New Orleans' loss. Then again, if they have to face New Orleans again, I think Tampa Bay fans will be a little worried. But chances are they probably won't have to. But, you see where I'm going with that. Look, right now, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay, still my odds-on favorite to go to the Super Bowl. I still think Tom Brady should win the MVP. And we'll see how the next month of the season plays out. There is still about a month left in the regular season. All right, guys, if you liked the video, please comment below. Make a comment in the comment section. I always try to get back to everybody. Also, subscribe to this channel. Go check me out at TomBartonSports.com and at Tom Barton Sports over on Twitter. And, of course, my podcast, you can just type in Tom Barton in any of the podcast networks. All of my podcasts will come up there as well. Have a good day, everybody.